Well, well. The overly hyped, in my opinion, game Death Stranding by Kojima. Um, yeah, I mean, the AE3 is a good result. I'm not going to come out and say that's really bad because that will just be ignorant of me. AE3 is a good score. However, a lot of the fan base, a lot of people predicted it's going to be a 95. So it's massively lower than that. I mean, the user score is 6.7. I never care for the user scores in here. It's just junk. It's mainly just fanboyism's ruined. However, when Days Gone released, a lot because that scored low. I think it scored 71%, but its user score was in the high 80s. Everyone was jumping on user score saying, "Oh, it's user score that matters, not Metascore." User score, not Metascore. And now on this, it's Metascore, not user score. She just can't keep up with it. But I'm trying off here. 83, as I said, it's a good score. But my point of this video, this is my rant, it's about Metascore in total. And it's not just, I'm just using this game now because it just highlights even more how broken Metacritic is. For a start, if you're going to give opinions of games, it should be done equally, and that's how you avoid bias. So when you're doing if you're going to do give opinions on Xbox game and a PS4 game, for example, if they should both have the same amount of critic reviews. That's how it balance. As it stands, PS4 games get about 20 to 40 more critic scores, which increases the average score. It does. You can say it doesn't all you want, but it does factually. You can work it out. I've did it using a spreadsheet, put input scores, then put in a load. Because generally the extra 20 to 40 it gets are generally positive, which thus increases the score. If the 20 to 40 were negative, it would lower the score. But they are generally more positive, and on PS4 does tend to have a lot more biased sites supporting it, a lot more PlayStation Now sites supporting it. However, and then you can also look at this by looking at PC. Has the lowest amount of critics for their games, then Xbox, then PS4, then Switch. Switch surprisingly gets the most amount of critic reviews. And if you look at the results of these games, generally the Switch is always leading, and then the PS4, then the Xbox, then the PC. And when you look at the games themselves, PC games are generally a lot better than the others on multiplats, but they score the lowest. Why? Because there's less critic scores. But anyway, so let's go into this. But my rant on this is 83, a good score, but should it be lower? This is another point where I'm going to go off into is the scores. The scores given don't tally up with what's being said, and this is where the biasness comes into it. So I'm going to go through I've read a lot of these, and I'm going to go through and give my opinions on just some of them. I'm not going to go through them all. So let's jump into that now and have a quick looky, shall we? So let's get this ball rolling. And digitally downloaded, I choose you first. Digitally downloaded, they just do some really poor reviews. Awful. These are the guys that gave No Man's Sky a 10 out of 10 as well, 100 as well. No Man's Sky, with all its faults. Clearly they're into Sony, and they said No Man's Sky. It's all gone off track again here. They said No Man's Sky is the only game that you can play where you fly around in space and you go to other planets. That was in their review. Yes. At this time, there were Star Citizen now and Elite Dangerous. But forget those games. No Man's Sky is where it's at. And they gave it 100%. Wow. No Man's Sky. Imagine giving No Man's Sky. Anyway, this game, and fair enough, because as a game, Death Stranding doesn't do much. But as a work of art, what? Wait, what? As a game, Death Stranding doesn't do much. Sorry, digitally downloaded, but you're reviewing a game. If it doesn't do much as a game for you, then you shouldn't give it a 10 out of 10 score, should you? It's a work of art, okay, then it belongs in a museum. Put it on TV. But if it's not a very good game, don't score it 10 out of 10, please. Do not give it 100. That's just ridiculous. Let's have a poke around at who else we got here. PlayStation Lifestyle, why not? 95, 9.5 out of 10. You'll be bored at times and downright frustrated at others. Okay, I can understand you'll be frustrated at a game. A lot of games are kind of built around that. Platformers, that's why I despise them, because they frustrate me. I just can't be arsed with it. So I can understand the frustration, but you'll be bored at times. 9 out of 10. Really? You're playing a game, it bores you, but you give it a 9. You've even said at the top, Death Stranding. Oh, let's highlight this for you. Death Stranding is not a fun game. It's not a fun game. It will bore you at times, basically. That's what they're saying in a nutshell. 9.5, almost a 10 out of 10 for the game not being fun and being boring. Oh my dear. Oh my days. Oh, but you'd expect this from a PlayStation site, really, wouldn't you? But this is what my point goes back to why Metacritic is broken. Next game. Worth playing. What would you call yourselves that? Right, worth playing. That also means that not all parts of it are excellent. The delivery gameplay is good occasionally. Great. It's good and occasionally great. It's good and occasionally great. But you've given it a 9 out of 10 though. By giving its pacing and setup, it doesn't always serve the game well, especially given the low difficulty setting. Setting aside those minor gripes, you're going to give it a 9 out of 10. Let's just put away. It's got several issues, but let's ignore that and just give it a 9 out of 10 anyway. Right at the end they say, this may not be for everyone, but give the game a chance. You've given it 9 out of 10. You've actually said the game is good and occasionally great, but you've given it a 9 out of 10, which is an exceptional score, but you're only saying it's good. Oh, my dears. What's next? What is next? I'm sorry, and there's a lot of these, and I could go into the thing more. Yeah, I'm not just picking out, because this is basically a brief of their whole thing. You can go into more, and you can find there is other issues. Some of them give. Actually, I'm going to show you that in a minute. Let's get some more of these, and I'll show you in a minute what I mean. GameSpot. These people love Sony as well. Death Stranding is a hard game to absorb. There are many intertwining threads to its plot, and silly names, corny moments, and heavy exposition belie an otherwise very simple message. That comes through much more clearly in the game's more mundane moments. So you're even calling the game dull and mundane. And this is another thing I'm not quite understanding. They're trying to make out it's something totally new. When you find a desperately needed ladder left behind by another player. I'm sorry, I play MMOs, and this happens in lots of MMOs. You can leave stuff for other players. It's nothing new that you can build worlds and leave things for other players. It's not a new concept. I'm confused why this is trying to be made out to be a brand new, innovative thing. It's not. Minecraft's built on building worlds with other people. So I'm confused by this. But yeah, GameSpot. You've given it a 9 out of 10, but you generally think the game's mundane. And you can go into it more, just like the others, where I'm going to point out in a moment. They tell you their pros and cons. And a lot of these people are cons like the game's awkward, the game's boring, it's stuff like that. But yeah, you've scored it 9 out of 10, which to me, a 9 out of 10, in my opinion, should be more or less the perfect game. So let's move on. Who's up next? Let's have a look. We've got Duke 2. Death Stranding is a very weird game that amazes us with its narrative, complex lore and atmosphere, but falls short of expectations with its wacky rhythm and its dull gameplay. 9 out of 10. Wow! You're going to give a game you find dull a 9 out of 10? Really? Come on, man. Oh my God. And this is my point, getting back to the 83%. It's boosted up by just their scores that doesn't match what they're saying. Next. ZTGD. ZTGD. Death Stranding is a weird game that I could not stop thinking about while reviewing it. It has plenty of sluggishness to it. Oh, brilliant. You know, we all like to play a game and it'd be really sluggy. Sometimes I never wanted to play a game. 8 out of 10. Sometimes you didn't want to play the game. You give it an 8 out of 10. Not everyone would adore this game, but I guarantee no one will ever forget it either. Unfortunately, they will never forget it for all the wrong reasons. So, PlayStation Universe. Despite that, with a handful of missteps, a deep, potent message of coming together rings through every aspect of Death Stranding. It does as a game as a whole, if you give it the time. See, the problem with, and they give it an 8 out of 10, the problem with things like this is, remember Sea of Thieves when it came out? Right? Who gave that time? Nobody. They scored it 67 out of 100, 6 out of 100, 6 out of 10. Because no one gave that time. That wasn't allowed. You know, that game is basically a game where you just travel around delivering stuff, just like this game. You just deliver stuff, and there's PvP elements, and there's actually a lot to it. Sea of Thieves is a massive game full of content, but it wasn't given the opportunity that they're asking you, or they're begging you to give this game, which is just blows my mind. This just blows my mind. V games. It's special but repetitive and sometimes outright boring gameplay. Even 7 out of 10 is a high score for a game you're saying is repetitive and outright boring. 7 out of 10 is very high. I'm sorry, but it is. Once again, those are the things that games like Sea of Thieves and that are down scored on for being repetitive and apparently boring. You're giving it 5 and 6 out of 10s. You're giving it 7 out of 10 for being boring. And Sea of Thieves was never. Sorry to keep bringing up Sea of Thieves here. Sea of Thieves was never called boring. It's actually called fun and enjoying, but apparently it was repetitive and lacked content. Which what I'm reading, if you go through all these reviews, Death Stranding's lacking a lot of content, and the world is generally very empty. There's actually nothing in it. You're just running around an empty world. What I can gather, the gameplay's sluggish, but I'm not criticising this game because I'm never going to play it because I hate these type of games. I hate single player games anyway. If anyone that knows me, you know, I don't even play them. I don't even play on the Xbox. Games like Gears, I don't play scores. I'll play games and enjoy. Halo, Gears, Forza, highest scoring games on Xbox. I don't really particularly like it, to be honest. And you can ask anyone that knows me. You can look at my channel. I don't really play the games. I'm into MMOs and MP games, which usually score really low, which is just weird. That's just how things go. But anyway, let's have a look at one of the critics' cons I was talking about. So let's have a quick look at trusted reviews. They gave it 100 score, 100%, 10 out of 10. As I said, there's still a lot of them show pros and cons. Cons are boss battles can be somewhat frustrating. That's understandable. A lot of games have that, especially Dark Souls type of games. A lot of people get off on being frustrated by games. I don't, so I don't play them. And a few plot threads remain unanswered. Okay, well, pros though, this is a lot of them are coming out with this. One of the most original games of this generation. I wouldn't say it's original. I can't see anything original about the game other than it seems to be 90%. Story / narrative / movie with 10% gameplay. Really looking at it, scary. Is that scary? Is that pro? Can you give a game? Can you score a game up because it's scary and melancholic? Can you do that? And then the characters are strange and layered. Can you score a game up because of that? I don't know if that can be, especially as you're breaking down the individual things. You put it under one thing, and that would be the narrative. I don't think you'd break every single. It's like saying, pro. There was a guy called Pete. My name's Pete, so I scored it up. Really? Mechanics all complement each other brilliantly. It's not what I've heard, I'm afraid. Social interaction system is generally innovative. No, this is the other thing. They're saying Death Stranding is something new. I call it lazy multiplayer. They couldn't figure out how to put multiplayer in it, so what they did is they did it how No Man's Sky actually first started out, which was also meant to be multiplayer, remember? And then it was a big massive lie. That you're all in the same world, but you never see each other. Innovative. No, it's not innovative. That's just because you can't figure out multiplayer, or you can't be bothered with it. So you've just... Lots of games already do this thing where you can help each other out and build. Minecraft's built around it, and I play MMOs, and PvE is basically built around helping out people on the same planet. You can leave stuff for people. It's not a new concept. I'm sorry. There's games on PC that have been around for years, generations that are like this. It's not a new concept at all. It's not, and it's certainly not one of the most. The only way the game is original is its story. The story is original. As a game, it's not original. let's move on to someone else, because I just wanted to get that gripe out the way, because this is my rant, remember? So we've got here, Goty's Geek. So your positives, incredible story and acting, huge variety in equipment, great audio visuals, lots of great mechanics. Right, so negatives. Travelling, see, the negatives are actually the gameplay. He's hyping up sort of the story, but the negatives are the gameplay. And in games, that should really, if those don't hold true, that's what should be putting the scores down. These games are now too merging into movies, and lazy journalists now are scoring games based on their story, scoring games based on story. If you want to do that, if you want to be a journalist and you want to be a critic of something, then do it in movies or books. Don't do it in games and then ignore their gameplay issues but promote their story over the gameplay issues. No. Negatives. Travelling long distance is frustrating. Well, yeah, the whole game is just running around in. And I've heard the fast travel is awful and appalling in it, which Red Dead was actually scored down for. Even though it got an amazing score. BT encounters lose impact. They're the little guys, I think, that run around with the prods that just cattle prod you. Balancing can be a pain. Yes, you don't just run around. You've got to balance the backpacks on your back the whole time. It looks like a really awkward game you'd get on the Switch. That's what I see. So this is ironic. There's lots of great mechanics. Balancing can be a pain. Well, balancing is one of the mechanics, isn't it? You sort of contradict yourself there, matey. But a lot of people in general, if you go for the positives and negatives, a lot of the negatives are towards the gameplay. They give the gameplay negatives. Some of them will say that the game is long and dull, blah, 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 blah. But like these, they all score it 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Despite the negatives being massive game breakers on a game. Gameplay breakers on a game. And this is what I'm not getting from reviews. And this is my whole point and rant about Metacritic as a whole. You see, if you're going to be a critic and you're going to do a comparison of two different consoles or different platforms, I should say, then you have to keep it fair across the board. Both sides, or all sides, need an equal amount of votes for a start. Basically, how Metacritic works is like football in the States and wherever, and in England, soccer and American football. You have a away side and a home side. The home side always has more players than the away side. More fans, I should say, more fans support. So it's always stronger. The home side's always stronger. That's why they generally win, and you know what I'm getting at. But that shouldn't carry on to games. You shouldn't have basically a home side and away side, because as it stands, because one side always has more critic reviews, they're basically always the home side, and the other team, the other platform, is always the away side. So comparing these is just ridiculous when you're doing it in that method. Also, if you're gonna be a critic, you should be critiqued across game mechanics and stuff like that. And broken down. I did it once for E.G.G. I used to be part of the founder. When I first came up with the idea E.G.G 4G, I come up with the whole concept, and it was Metacritic that gave me the idea for it, because I wanted to create an unbiased review channel. And I come up with a criteria which had 5 criteria, which were things like, one of them was gameplay, story, narrative. Another one was cost and things. There was 5. You can go back into my videos. I had a breakdown. I could probably do it another day. But there was 5 criteria, and these 5 criteria then make up your overall score. Just saying stuff like, yeah, didn't really like the game. Game's dull. Story was good. 10 out of 10. No. I'm sorry. No. That's not how you criticise games. That's not how the market should be. So, the other thing about Death Stranding and all that's got me right, it was the whole sort of thing about it. In 2016, it was going to be on PC, and it was everywhere that this game is going to be multi-platform. But then Sony recently come out in a Gamescom saying, well, what were they saying? Let's take a look, because I've got receipts. Death Stranding is a PS4 exclusive game. This guy goes into the fact that at Gamescom, they announced it's going to be exclusive. Despite, you can read this out, let's have a look, Gamescom, this is the Sony website, delisting, because they said in 2016 it's going to be on PC, blah, 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 blah. But then Death Stranding at Gamescom was revealed to and advertised to be a PS4 exclusive. And this is conveniently just before the pre-orders come up, I believe. So yes, they said it was a PS4 exclusive. You can basically see here that one of the box art game cropped in such a way that clearly displays a PS4 exclusive label on the top image. Very misleading advertising when the pre-orders dropped. And then a week before the game released, it was suddenly advertised as a PC, going to PC as well. Very shady. I don't like the way Sony always do this. They did the same to Detroit, and they just keep doing this thing where they mislead the gamers. They make out something's exclusive, they label it exclusive, and then remove that just before release of the game. Very, very naughty, Sony. Very naughty indeed. So my final roundup on Metacritic, because remember this is a rant at Metacritic. I'm just using Death Stranding to get my point across, but this is a final rant at Metacritic. Death Stranding achieves a rare perfect score. This is not really having to do with Metacritic, to be honest. This just basically says bias, openly admits that they're biased. Japanese magazine Famitsu review scores have long come under scrutiny for being less than honest, because they scored the game 40 out of 40, which is the only game to achieve the score. Yes, further proves my point about the bias. But yeah, Metacritic. Is it a broken system? I'd love to hear your comments below. I believe it is. I'm not finished here, because now I'm going to get on to Game of the Year awards, which also Death Stranding feeds into. Which so let's get now onto my rant on Game of the Year awards. And from Death Stranding, this brings us nicely onto the Game Awards, because there's a massive connection between the two. Firstly, are you aware? Is everyone aware here? Put your hands up. If you're aware, the Game Awards are done by votes. The voting goes into a portion of the overall winner. Yes, you and me, we can all go and vote right now on the Game Awards who you want to win it. And this is the amusing thing. About a week or so ago, top of that voting system was Death Stranding. People were voting for it, fan base were voting for it before the game's even released, before the reviews are even in, before they've even played the game. They're voting on a game, I can only imagine based on the trailers, which were confusing at best. So they're completely smeared and ruined by a fan base, by allowing those fan bases to vote. Let's give another example. Pretty much like the Metacritic. When you've got one console, we can make this into... it's not about the console wars at all, this, but when you've got a console that sold 100 million, so it's got a fan base of 100 million, and you've got another one that sold 50 million, so it's got a fan base of 50 million, and then you may ask them to both vote for something, the majority of the vote is going to go to the PS4 console. Let's not beat around the bush here. It's going to win based on the vote system. If you're going to vote, that's just logic and common sense. So why they allow this to go to votes? Let's put aside Jeff Keighley is also in Death Stranding. If you want your game to win an award, put the award host and creator into your game. There we go. If I wanted to win football, I'll put Ronaldo in my team. That's what I do. If I want to win football, put Ronaldo in the team. If you want to win a game award for your game that's poo at best, if I look at it, put Jeff Keighley in your game. He's going to walk out and go, guess what won? Everyone's going to think, there's a whole... I'll tell you what, here we go. I'll tell you what, my top 5 would be, my Game of the Year top 5 predictions are Gears 5, Outer Worlds, Shariko, Astral Chain, and Super Mario Maker 2. I think that's my top 5 predictions of the Game of the Year. You know what's going to win it? Death Stranding. Why? Because its Metacritic reviews have been just slandered, and Jeff Keighley, everybody. Hello, this is my game. I mean, it's not my game, this is my friend's game. Yes, they're also pals and very chummy, the two of them. They have been for a long time. But the Game Awards are absolute poo. Do us away with the whole voting system. It's just general just nonsense, really. The only can be voted for, but there's so many games. I don't know why this is the go-to for everything. There's so many Game Awards out there. Loads of sites and companies do their own Game of the Year awards, but I don't know why this one is the go-to when it's so blatantly corrupted. But that's my rant on the Game Awards. This has been a longer video than I want it to be, but that's my rant over. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please comment and give your opinions below, because I'd like to hear opinions. Because that's what reviews are at the end of the day. Opinions. So, I mean, I'm sure I've got a friend that's playing through Why So Bad. Hello, Why So Bad? He's playing through Death Stranding at the moment. He's 2 hours in, he said, and he said it's interesting. And he's a massive PS4 fanboy. He will not be upset by me saying that, and I mean massive. But thank you for watching. Please sub and share and like, and please, I'm gonna promote myself here. Look out for my Red Dead 2 series and my Conan Exiles series. There's a lot of raiding going on at the moment. But anyway, thank you all for watching, and goodbye for now.